The next category is shaping. I'm breaking shaping into two categories. So there's something called free shaping, which is how I started way back in the 90s shaping behavior. And there's what we do, which I'll get to in a second. Free shaping is where you get yourself a clicker and a bowl of cookies, and you stand in a room and you wait for your dog to do something. And maybe they turn their head and you click and you feed that. And maybe they move towards the door and you click and you feed that. Now, obviously, you're going to have an outcome in mind, but you're waiting for the dog to do something. It's free. They're just doing things. Now, you might not have an outcome in mind when you're free shaping. You might just go, hey, let's just see what they want to offer. And so you just click and reward anything the dog does and you see what happens. You can also free shape by putting a prop down and click and reward the puppy or the dog for interacting with that. Sometimes I'll get a dog interested in shaping by putting a container, like a plastic container with holes in it and a big meaty bone in there, and click and rewarding the dog for just interacting with that thing, right? It's a way of getting them to freely offer behaviors. So free shaping is free. So if somebody wanted to teach a dog, let's say, to retrieve something, they might put like a ball down on the floor and they'd click the dog for looking at it and walking towards it. There's a video on my blog that shows a great example of me free shaping a behavior way back in the 90s and then me shaping it the way I do now. And the difference was, I believe, the one I did with my Border Collie Stony way back when, it might have been in early 2000, I can't really recall, but it took 3.5 minutes for her to get the behavior. With my Border Collie Encore, dogs very closely related, it took like 3 seconds to get the same behavior. Okay, so free shaping to me, I don't do it. The only time I would do it is if I just wanted to click and reward a dog for doing whatever they felt like doing, which honestly I used to do back in the 90s, but I really don't anymore. The reason why I don't free shape is because I believe, number one, you build in a lot of cheap behaviors you might not want, and that might be difficult to get rid of. For example, if I wanted my dog to pick something up and they're getting frustrated and anxious and they'll start vocalizing, and then they pick something up, and you get that vocalizing into the behavior. You get the anxiety built into the behavior. So I don't want the cheap behaviors like barking, or they might start, digging their feet or whatever they're doing because they got rewarded for that before. In the video clip that I spoke about on my blog, my dog Stony jumps up and grabs a rope because it was reinforced before when I was trying to get her to jump on a cooler. So free shaping, it's free. It's a lot less structured. What we do, I don't know that there's a name for it. I would call it layered shaping or efficient shaping, honestly, more intentional shaping. And what we do is we manipulate the environment so that the correct choice for the dog is the obvious choice. What's the advantage of this? The more layers you put into a behavior, the more confidence that grows as the behavior grows. I've seen people who say, hey, I got a new seesaw, and so I want to do agility with my dog. I've put my dog over it. They look like their nails are out and they're a little bit worried. And because there's no layers involved. I've got 20 or 30 layers to how I teach a seesaw. There's so many layers that grow confidence leading to the final behavior. So you get to the final behavior with a lot of confidence. And the difference is if something gets a little bit sloppy, go back to any one of those layers and put more reinforcement in it. And then you've got brilliant behavior. Okay, so there you have it.